All right, let's do it. Ty Butler in the house. Hit us up. We are taking your comments in the chat. Want to talk to you guys on this Tuesday evening here in New York City, a rainy Tuesday here in New York. So hit me up in the comments. We are talking Giants football, reacting to what I thought was a pretty pathetic press conference from your boy Joe Schoen. All right. I one of the favorite go-to lines is nobody's more disappointed than I am. I know the fans are frustrated. I know the ownership is frustrated. No one's more frustrated than me. All right. Joe Schoen today, and here's why I thought it was embarrassing. First of all, this dude shouldn't even still be the general manager of the team. If we really want to keep it 100. Joe Schoen should no longer be the general manager of this team. He should have been fired this past offseason. Hard reset. But the Giants, in their infinite wisdom, decided, let's run this thing back and see what we can do with Jackson Dart as not our starting quarterback, but the backup. We'll see Russell Wilson start the season and hopefully win some games, delay the inevitable, except we got too much of empirical evidence that the inevitable could not be delayed. So they come into a season with the head coach who we know stinks, with the general manager who's not much better. And here we are today. Fired head coach, fired defensive coordinator. After last night, you want to fire the special teams coordinator. So let's just keep firing people. After the owner of the team, John Mara, told us this past offseason he wanted some continuity. He was tired of hiring and firing guys. And the latest casualty should be the guy who spoke today. And I'm prepared to see a bunch of people say, well, I give him credit for going up there. I don't give you credit. It's your job. You are a conduit to the fans. It's your job to get up there and take the punches. And I'll tell you what he tried to do today. And once again, hit us up in the comments. I want to hear from y'all. What he tried to do today was distance himself from Brian Dable. Here's the only problem. You hired Brian Dable. He said ownership makes a decision to move on. I'm going to control what I can control. All right, cool. What you can control is putting a roster together that's better than 2-11. Because let's not act like this is all Brian Dable. Brian Dable was not a good head coach. And I think we learned that. But let's not sit here and pretend Brian Dable is the sole reason why the Giants, once again, have become an embarrassment. Let's not pretend Brian Dable is the reason why, or the sole reason why, the Giants, who once prided themselves on winning championships, being a first-class organization, looks up today with its third consecutive double-digit loss season. In fact, you go back to 2016, remember? That aberration of a year where Ben McAdoo was able to get this team to 11-5. They had the number 2 scoring defense. Eli's on his last legs. They go 11-5 boat trip. Since the boat trip, the Giants have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 double-digit loss seasons. The New York Giants, who last year celebrated their 100-year anniversary, 8 double-digit loss seasons. So I'm not going to sit here and act like it's all Brian Dable. This is the infrastructure. It's systemic from top to bottom. They have been an utter catastrophe. So Joe Schoen can pretend, oh man, like eating humble pie. Yeah, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And Pat Leonard, who is like the MVP of this press conference, asked him straight up, yo, why do you feel like you deserve, despite your record, despite what your resume says? Joe Schoen is 5-25 in his last 30 games as the general manager of the Giants. Why do you feel like you deserve another opportunity to rectify what has been a mess? Those are the types of questions Giant fans wanted to hear answered. That's what I'm talking about. At least the Giant media ain't too damn soft, similar to what we see with the Yankees. When we got folks pulling up to Yankee press conferences, pulling punches. Oh, they want to bow at the feet of Brian Cashman, who, again, hasn't been as bad as Joe Schoen, but tough questions need to be asked. Joe Schoen, opening statement, and I'll pull up some of the commentary here on the screen. As we react to today, the press conference that Joe Schoen had. Opening statement. 2 wins. It's not where we want to be. Well, obviously, it's not good enough. I understand the frustration from fans, ownership, the people inside the building. And this is what I was talking about. Nobody is more frustrated than myself. It starts with me. I'm tasked with trying to get this organization back in the proper direction. You should not be tasked with that, because the folks in that building should be smart enough to understand he ain't good enough. And he hasn't been since his first year. But let's continue to see what Joe Schoen had to say. We're going to do everything we can right now to support Kafka. That's our primary focus. At the appropriate time, we'll get into potential coaches, research. We'll do a thorough collaborative research and come up with the best coach to lead the New York Giants going into the 2026 season. Giant fans are tired of hearing this, man. They are tired of hearing the same old thing. We're playing the hits. How many times are we going to go into an offseason looking for the right head coach? The problem is ownership. The problem is we don't have the right decision makers. And those same decision makers thought it was smart to come into this season with these two guys at the helm when they have shown you over the last couple years they were not cut out for this job. You're the New York Giants. You're not going to be bereft of candidates. Let's stop acting like this is not going to be a highly coveted position. Because despite how awful you've been, despite the fact that you've been a train wreck, worst record in the league the last decade, the fact of the matter is the brand still matters. It's the Giants. And I say all of that to get to this point. If you are a name, cachet, why would you come here to be thrown into a marriage with this general manager? I just saw Aaron Glenn, devoid of any head coaching experience, pull up on the New York Jets and say, I'm picking a general manager. Aaron Glenn. So you mean to tell me that another highly regarded, respected head coach with experience won't get afforded that same luxury because we've got to bow at the altar of Joe Schoen? The hell are y'all talking about? What are we doing here, man? And I'm not making this personal because I spoke about this the other day when we were on radio diving into the Lane Kiffin issue that he had with that reporter. You don't got to do the name calling. You don't got to make it personal. I just don't think that this dude is good at his job, and the facts bear that out. So, sitting here watching this press conference, and he's giving you all of the cliches. As for the roster, I do believe there is good young core to build around here. It will be an attractive job for many coaches. I'm excited to get that process going as we move forward. Joe Schoen asked about, and this is what I was telling you guys about earlier, why he should be the man to lead the Giants moving forward. Has it been perfect? No. But I'm very confident in my staff, myself, and our ability to get this franchise back to where it needs to go. Well, you were confident in the head coach you hired in year one. How'd that work out? So why should I trust you? You have not earned the right to remain the general manager of this team. After a follow-up on the Giants' poor record recently he said, we do have a good young quarterback that's on a rookie contract for the next 4 years. You have a good nucleus. You have a good left tackle. You have a wide receiver that had an historic year as a rookie. A good running back room. Pass rushers. There's pieces in place. I do have confidence in our ability and our process to find the next head coach to lead the organization. I know we're going to get it right. So what he's saying here is, as he tries to distance himself from Brian Dable, is that it was a coaching problem. That's what he's saying. Because if you have a good young quarterback, if you got a good left tackle, you have a wide receiver, and yes, he got hurt, and the running back also got hurt. Pass rushers, the pieces in place, what he's telling you is the roster is a lot better than a 2-11 record. And by the way, I agree with that. You cannot look at this Giants roster that clearly has a bunch of holes, but you can't look at them and say they should be this bad. What we saw last night was an embarrassment, and I know New England's awesome. Mike Vrabel, man, hats off to him. All that dude does is win football games, right? Drake May, after what we saw from Stafford this past Sunday, probably now has usurped him and is number one in the MVP race. Hell of a job in free agency by New England, rebuilding this team. I mean, even picking up Diggs, like that year over year correction. Hats off to an organization that just seemingly gets it right consistently. You cannot tell me the Giants should have been down 30-7 at halftime. You cannot sell me on that. You can't sell me on that. The roster is a lot better than how it's played. But again, even if you are making that argument and you're saying coaching's been a problem, well, who hired the coach? Who hired the coach? Who hired him? Kevin Johnson, team hasn't been the same since, of course, he left. I honestly don't know what Joe Schoen has done to deserve to keep his job. Now, he's going to sell them on we drafted the quarterback. Well, there are a lot of people who said Brian Dable, this was his selection. That Shane didn't even want Jackson Dart, which Shane today tried to clear up. I want to find the answer. Again, I didn't anticipate we'd be 30th in the league in defense at this point with the addition of those players, but we are, and we've got to do a better job. Throwing coaches under the bus is basically what he's doing here. He's saying, I did my job. That's on y'all. That's on the coaches. And this is what he has to do to sell himself to ownership. He's got to sell himself to ownership by doing this very thing. He does take some accountability here. He says the chances of me batting 1,000 are gone because I've made mistakes. Everybody is going to make mistakes. We're going to get some things right as long as you're learning from those mistakes and you reflect on the process in place and where you were wrong. That's what's most important. I'm better today than I was 4 years ago. Well, damn it, the record doesn't say that. A year from now, God willing, I'm standing here. I'm going to be better than I am today. That's all I can do. Were there some things that we did where we missed in our process or strayed away from what we believed in? There's a chance that that happened. Okay, lesson learned. Don't make it again. Yeah, and I actually agreed with this decision, but allowing Saquon Barkley to go to Philadelphia and win a championship, it's not a great move from Joe Schoen. Especially when you were still in the process of trying to evaluate the quarterback who you gave $160 million guaranteed to. Especially when you underrated and underestimated the impact of Saquon Barkley on that locker room. There have been a lot of decisions that went right. Name them. How many of those decisions went right as we're sitting here at 2-11, fresh off of a 3-14 season, where before that you were 6-11? How many good decisions are we talking about here, Joe Schoen? I'd love to know. It's the gold standard. It's still the New York Giants, flagship franchise. Have I screwed up? Have I made mistakes? Absolutely. But I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. And we're going to continue to get better. So, this is where we are. If you're a Giants fan, I can't imagine you still have a lot of faith in this general manager. There's a whole segment on Hard Knocks where it's pretty much shown it was Dable's pick. Absolutely. Dable was the guy who wanted Jackson Dart. So now Dable gets fired, and you get to take credit for having the young quarterback? Something about that feels grimy to me. So you didn't want Saquon. He goes to Philadelphia, wins a championship. You gave Daniel Jones the big contract. You had to cut him halfway through. He goes to Indianapolis and looked as good in Indianapolis as he ever did with the Giants. You didn't want Jackson Dart, or at least the motivation behind drafting Jackson Dart was because Brian Dable was the guy pushing for it. Dable gets fired, and you get to take credit for how good Jackson Dart looks, even though you didn't want him as much as Dable did, and you weren't the head coach, allowing that talent to come close to reaching whatever its fullest potential was in year one. How do you get to elude all of this is what I don't understand. I don't like somebody's got to explain that to me. Now, I will say this. I don't think he's actually going to be the general manager. I think the Giants are trying to get through this season. And then once we get to the offseason where interviews will take place, and here's where it gets messy. I was going to say where interviews take place, you'll start to size up your candidates and have them tell you what they want. Like if the Packers fold and LaFleur becomes available, or if something happens in Pittsburgh where Tomlin becomes available, those guys will dictate who their general manager is. And where it gets messy is throughout this process, if Joe Shane gets wind that the candidates don't want to retain him as a general manager, does he try to sabotage it? Like, that's where it's just nasty. Cut him loose, man. You already botched this. You already botched this. Cut him loose. I want to hear from y'all in the comments. If you are on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Ty D. Butler. If you're watching us on Twitter, let us know what you're thinking. We're here, baby. We're here. Man, it's just amazing that we are here with Joe Shane. It's amazing. This is where we are with Joe Shane. And I gotta talk. I gotta talk about Jackson Dart as well. His comments last night were so tone deaf. They were so tone deaf. Because it comes across like he just doesn't get it. He does not understand it. Here's what I watch quarterbacks who play kind of like me around the league. I watch how Josh Allen plays. I watch how Patrick Mahomes plays. They take hits too. I'm not an anomaly here. Josh Allen. First of all, Josh Allen's bigger than you. He's bigger, he's stronger. And by the way, the Bills don't want him taking those hits. Josh Allen, as he got older and matured, had to learn when to get down, when to get out of bounds. And yes, because of how strong he is and how much bigger he is than you, he's able to take hits and absorb that better than you. As far as Patrick Mahomes is concerned, Patrick, because of the experience, with baseball, his pocket awareness and his ability to move his feet has enabled him to what's the best way to phrase this? He actually doesn't take hits in the way that Jackson Dart is explaining here. Patrick is so smart. He's so elusive. The way he can tap dance those sidelines, because you're deathly afraid of his ability to throw down the field and find those receivers. That comes with maturity. That comes with experience. So I don't love the comparison to Mahomes. And then he also says this quote here. I understand the question, and because they asked him about taking hard hits. I understand the question, but this is football. I'm going to get hit if I'm in the pocket or outside the pocket. I've played this way my entire life. It shouldn't be any shocker to anybody if you followed along with my career. We're not playing soccer out here. You're going to get hit. Things happen. It's just part of the game. Listen, I understand that things happen. It's football. It's not soccer. You're going to get hit. But my man, fresh off of missing a couple of games because you were out with a concussion, can we at least see you be a little bit better in the immediacy, in the immediate aftermath of that? Can we just see you be a fraction better? Can we see that you're learning? Jackson Dart, understandably, has one gear. He has one way to play, and it's part of what makes him great. But the best ability is your availability. And you're hurting the organization. You are hurting your entire team that, by the way, yesterday defended you as you're being hit legally on this along the sidelines. You're hurting those guys in the locker room if you compromise your health and you're not able to be out there. That's the problem. So you can be stubborn. You can sit up there and say, I've been like this my entire life. Well, you've never in your entire life played in the National Football League. You've never been on this stage. So what you were able to get away with in college, what you were able to get away with in high school, it's a lot different than what you're up against now. So it is quite frustrating if you are a Giant coach, if you're his teammate, if you're a fan, and this dude doesn't seem to be able to learn from his mistakes. Mistakes that hopefully don't cost him his career. We've seen Tua. We've seen examples of guys getting put out. We don't want to see that happen to you. And the reason why it matters so much, and you could say, right or wrong, because you're this good. Because for a very long time, the Giants have been searching for an answer at quarterback. And they found that guy. And no one knew you would be this good this quickly. So that's why people are concerned. That's why the reporters are asking these questions. You've got to learn to be better, my guy. It comes across as tone deaf. It really does. You are hurting your team. You're hurting your team. It's just silly. Your number one priority and your number one responsibility to this team, to this franchise that desperately needs you, is for you to be out there every Sunday or Monday, Thursday. And by constantly putting yourself in harm's way, post injury, in the face of what we just saw, which was you missing multiple games, for you to go up there last night and that be the type of thing you're telling people, telling the media, it's really, really, it's reckless, it's immature, and it's downright silly. I didn't love that at all. Now it's challenging, right? Easier said than done. Said than done. We got to find a way to marry him being the same guy with that motor, because it puts them in best position to win. It's how he continues to evolve, but also finding a way to better protect yourself. And again, it's difficult, man, especially at that speed with these defenders coming at you. And you saw it watching last night. They wanted to take that dude out. That was their game plan. Hit him hard. Make him think twice about standing in that pocket. Let's show him physicality. And it was all legal, but they were out there trying to punk the Giants and were successful at it. So Jackson, no one is asking you to completely change who you are. No one is saying you can't leave the pocket and run. What we are telling you is acknowledge what we all know is factually correct, and that is that we need to find a better way to protect our franchise quarterback, and that's on the coaches, and that's on me if I'm Jackson Dart. So it's just disappointing to hear him just be oblivious to it. And you would think that sitting on the bench, you want to play, sitting on the bench back to back weeks, that itch to get back out there would in some ways be educating you in how you should carry yourself the rest of the way. That should be like informative. Like, you know what? Yeah, it's how I've played my entire life. I'm not going to change how aggressive I am because I don't want to compromise my ability to be successful in this league. But as you guys have seen, we are working on ways to diminish me putting myself in harm's way. And there are going to be some opportunities for me to either go down sooner, get out of bounds, but I've got to protect myself because I am an asset to this organization and I want to be here for a very long time. And the only way I can be a great teammate in my position is to be available every single game. If I'm not out there, I'm doing a disservice to my team. I'm doing a disservice to my coach, to my general manager, to ownership, to everybody, to the fans. So what I have to do is figure out a way to play the way that I want to play, but just do it in a more safe fashion. I've got to get smarter. And it's not all that dissimilar from what we saw happen with Lamar. Remember, Lamar dealt with a ton of injuries. And up until this year, he had corrected that. I've got to be smarter. You are not going to last in this league a long time playing the way Jackson Dart does. Ty D. Butler is where you can find me on X. I am on Instagram as well. Make sure y'all hit me up. We are here, getting it popping. Follow me on TikTok as well. You're a Giant fan and you're in the comments. Yeah, I want to hear from Giant fans who think that Joe Schoen should remain the general manager. I'm curious. Are there Giant fans out there watching right now? Are there Giant fans right now who believe that Joe Schoen should remain the general manager of this team? If that's you, hit me up. Hit me up. Where y'all at? Where y'all at? Um, I'm gonna be with my man Dexter Henry tomorrow. It's a lot to talk about. Dexter Henry, New York Pro Sports. We got the Giants to talk about, the Jets as well. We'll also get into his Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm excited about that. This was fun to do. Make sure y'all show me love. Hit me up on the gram. Hit me up. You see my Twitter handle, my social media handle right there. TikTok, Instagram, X. It was fun talking to y'all today. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla at me.